Hi guys, so this video is going to be a little bit out there because it's going to be about NoFap, PMO, whatever you want to call it. It's all about this NoFap movement a lot of people have been doing. I'm just going to go over the scientific side and I'm going to go over the metaphysical side, which is more of an opinion and things that I've put together and I've thought through and the effects that it has had on me. But I'm also going to go over the scientific side. So in terms of the scientific side, if you do a little bit of research, you find out that pornography has a huge effect on your psychology and your brain, and it also has an effect on your physiology a little bit. More your psychology than your physiology. Three things that you want to remember is that it's going to affect your levels of prolactin, level of dopamine, and levels of testosterone. Testosterone is something that all the dudes know because testosterone is the hormone that gives you the capability to gain muscle, controls your sex drive, gives you the drive to go and to strive and to achieve the things that you want. Dopamine is a pleasure neurotransmitter hormone that gives you the pleasure sense. So when you do eat food or you do something that's enjoyable, your brain releases dopamine, and because it releases dopamine, it gives you that pleasure sense. Prolactin is also one of those hormones that has actually been linked to mental and psychological health of males. Okay, now if you practice NoFap, you realize that you start feeling like you have high levels of energy, but you also your libido is also going to increase. Okay, so what they did, there was a scientific study that was done, and they found that people who masturbated frequently, they had lower levels of testosterone. Okay, and once you stop, your testosterone shoot back up. Here's the thing that they don't tell you is that after about 7 days, okay, even though it does shoot up to 140%, it goes back down and you reach a homeostasis and it goes back to a steady level. Okay, so it's not that your testosterone is going to be up and spiked forever. It's just that it's going to go up, okay, and then it's going to go back to a steady homeostatic level. Okay, that's one thing. And you find that within that 7 days, you're gonna it is more that your body is replenishing itself, and then you're gonna get more energy, you're gonna get more drive. Okay, so a lot of people do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I'm not really sure how long I've been in it. Don't really count the days for me because I'm pretty sure it's more than 5-6 months now. And then you also have your dopamine and your prolactin. So there's a lot of studies that show that people who have low levels of prolactin, it actually affects their psychological health and their mental health. Okay, and the prolactin is actually affected by dopamine. So how dopamine works? Okay, dopamine is that drug that gives you not really a drug, sorry. It's a hormone that gives you the sense of pleasure. Okay, so your ability to find pleasure in little things, when you go out into nature, when you're doing things that you enjoy, when you meet someone, yada yada. So when you masturbate, it is one of those things that it is the highest sense of pleasure that you can ever have as a human being. Nothing's ever going to get any higher than that. Okay, and when you do it frequently, more and more often, it increases the amount of dopamine that's being rushed into your brain keeps going on more and more and more. Okay, now if you keep doing it, obviously, after a while, you're going to be desensitized to it. So you're not going to find pleasure doing normal everyday things, or you're not going to get pleasure doing the things that you enjoy. So your ability and your drive to go out and do things is going to be a little bit less. I'm now going to the metaphysical side of things. I personally believe that your semen is one of the most powerful things that you can have because it is a life force. It depends on what your spiritual grounding is, but it is a life force. So you, as a sentient being, your capability to create new life is funneled through there as a male. Okay, so it takes a lot of energy to create semen. This is actually studied, and it takes about 4 hours to recreate it. That's why when you find when you ejaculate, you'll have a lot less energy. Okay, Napoleon Hill talks about this. He calls it sexual transmutation, when you hold on to your semen and you redirect this energy to something that you're passionate about and something that you want to go through. And you'll find that if you do this, a lot of people do this for about 90 days, it gives you a little bit more drive and a little bit more passion, I guess, to go to strive towards specific things. And when you do start taking this on, okay, you realize that it's something that actually affects your brain, because keep in mind, when you're watching pornography, your brain does not have the capability to differentiate if it's it's a screen, if it's virtual versus if it's a real woman, because effectively you're getting it goes back to the rats, you're getting a new female every time, and you as a man, as a human being, okay, you're more likely to go towards that route because it gives you don't have an urge to go towards to strive towards actually getting a female, or strive towards your goals, or strive towards something else, because you as a male, at the end of the day, everything that you do is to procreate and to create new life, and that your semen is the most powerful thing that creates new life. So when you're wasting it and you're throwing it out, effectively what you're doing is you're pushing that life force, that energy out, okay? And then every single time, you're not giving your body a time to replenish yourself, because a lot of people do it between 3 times a week. 25% of males, some do almost daily. So what happens is you don't replenish that life force, okay? You're always using that energy. Napoleon Hill actually Napoleon Hill says that the sexual transmutation, you find that a lot of more successful people have the capability to do this and utilize that energy to something that is more productive. Okay, so that's the reason I personally do NoFap. It is not something particularly that everyone can. It's something that I recommend for everyone, or a lot of dudes. There's also a Taoist, what's it called, cycle, where they believe that everyone has a certain amount of cycles that they can do. Sometimes they're calculated according to age and and your activity level and all that stuff. But I personally just go with that. So I guess they call it NoFap hard mode. Some people just do the NoFap way. You still go out and you in search of other things. But personally, I utilize that energy to train and to do things that I essentially like.